Imagine walking out to your coop every single morning and pulling out a fresh egg. Now imagine doing that tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, 364 days in a row without missing once. That sounds impossible, right? It's not. One breed did exactly that, and chances are you've never even heard its name. But here's what's going to bother you right now. You're probably raising a breed that's eating your money and giving you half the eggs it should. And it's not your fault. Nobody told you the truth about which chickens actually produce and which ones just look good on the internet. That changes today. I'm breaking down the 7 highest producing layer breeds on Earth. What nobody tells you about each one. And that one breed that nearly laid an egg every single day for a year is coming last. Because once you hear its story, every other chicken sounds average. The Golden Comet. If you've never heard of a Golden Comet, that's okay. But if you're serious about eggs, you need to know this breed. The Golden Comet is a hybrid, which means it's a cross between 2 purebred chickens, typically a Rhode Island Red rooster and a white Leghorn or white Plymouth Rock hen. The reason this cross is so popular is simple. These birds were literally engineered to lay eggs. A healthy Golden Comet will give you anywhere from 250 to over 300 eggs per year. That's 5 to 6 eggs per week, almost without fail. Something that makes them stand out from a lot of other high-production breeds is that they start laying early. We're talking as young as 15 to 16 weeks old. Most breeds don't start until 18 to 22 weeks. So you're getting eggs sooner, and you're getting a lot of them. Temperament-wise, Golden Comets are some of the friendliest chickens you'll ever raise. If you have kids on your homestead, these birds are perfect. They're calm, they're docile, and they actually enjoy human interaction. They'll follow you around the yard like little feathered puppies, and they're not flighty, so you don't need a 6FD fence to keep them contained. Here's the trade-off, though, and I want to be honest with you, because nobody else talks about this. Because Golden Comets are hybrids bred for maximum production, they tend to burn out faster than heritage breeds. You'll get incredible numbers in the first 2 years, but by year 3, production drops off significantly. Some of them also develop reproductive issues like egg peritonitis, because their bodies are working so hard to produce. So if you want maximum eggs right now, Golden Comets are hard to beat. But if you're thinking long-term, 5 years or more from the same flock, you might want to pair them with some of the heritage breeds we're going to talk about further up this list. For feeding, Golden Comets do well on a standard 16% layer feed. Make sure they always have access to calcium, either through oyster shell supplement or crushed eggshells, and give them clean water at all times. These birds are not picky eaters, and they're excellent foragers if you let them free range, which also cuts down on your feed costs. One more bonus tip about Golden Comets: they're what's called a sex-linked breed, which means you can tell males from females at birth just by their color. The females hatch out with a reddish gold color, and the males come out pale yellow or white. That's incredibly useful if you're hatching your own chicks and you want to know right away what you're working with without waiting weeks to find out. The Sussex. Specifically, I'm talking about the speckled Sussex, though the light Sussex is also an excellent layer. The Sussex breed goes back hundreds of years to Sussex County in England, and it was one of the primary table and egg birds in Britain for centuries. A good Sussex hen will lay between 250 and 300 eggs per year, and those eggs are a beautiful light brown to creamy color. What makes the Sussex special and why it earned a spot on this list is that this is one of the most well-rounded chicken breeds on the planet. It lays a lot of eggs, yes, but it's also a decent-sized bird, usually around 7 to 8 lbs for hens. So if you ever need to cull an older bird, you've got a good amount of meat there too. It's what old-timers call a true dual-purpose breed, and on a homestead, that kind of versatility is gold. Sussex chickens are also incredibly cold-hardy. If you live somewhere with harsh winters, and I'm talking real cold, below freezing for weeks at a time, Sussex hens will keep laying when a lot of other breeds shut down. Their production might slow a little, but they don't stop. And that matters because winter eggs are like currency on a homestead. When everyone else's hens are on strike, yours are still filling the basket. Temperament-wise, the Sussex is curious, friendly, and surprisingly brave. They're great foragers and will spend all day hunting for bugs, seeds, and greens if you let them out. This makes them incredibly feed efficient because they supplement their diet naturally. They're also good with kids and mix well with other breeds in a mixed flock. One thing to watch out for with Sussex chickens is that because they're so calm and docile, they can sometimes get bullied by more aggressive breeds. So if you've got Leghorns or other bossy birds in your coop, make sure your Sussex hens have enough space and aren't getting pushed off the feed. For longevity of production, Sussex chickens are outstanding. You can expect solid laying for 3 to 4 years, and many keepers report their Sussex hens still producing well into year 5. That's the benefit of heritage breeds. They're not as intense as hybrids in the first year, but they last so much longer. The Plymouth Rock, and specifically the barred Plymouth Rock. You've probably seen these birds before. They're the ones with those gorgeous black and white striped feathers, and they look absolutely stunning in any flock. But the barred rock isn't just a pretty face. These hens produce around 250 to 280 eggs per year, which is solid production. The eggs are medium to large in a warm brown color. And like the Sussex, the barred rock is a true dual-purpose breed with hens reaching 7 to 8 lbs. What really earns the barred rock a spot on this list is reliability. This breed is the tortoise in a world full of hares. It might not give you the absolute highest numbers in year 1, but it keeps going and going. Barred rocks are known for consistent laying across seasons, and they handle temperature extremes remarkably well, both cold and heat. That makes them one of the most adaptable breeds you can own. Whether you're homesteading in the mountains of Vermont or on a ranch in Texas, barred rocks are also incredibly easy to manage. They're friendly, they're calm, they're curious, and they rarely cause problems in the flock. They're the kind of bird that a first-time chicken keeper can raise without any headaches, and that experienced homesteaders always keep a few of because they're just so dependable. Here's a bonus for you. Barred rocks are excellent mothers. If you're interested in naturally hatching your own chicks without an incubator, a barred rock hen will go broody more reliably than a lot of production breeds, and she'll do a fantastic job raising her babies. That's something you don't get with hybrids like the Golden Comet. On the feed side, barred rocks are moderate eaters. They don't eat you out of house and home, and they're great foragers. A barred rock on pasture will find a good chunk of her own food, which saves you money. Just make sure you're providing that quality layer feed as a base. Keep the calcium supplement available, and you're good. The Rhode Island Red. If you know anything about chickens, you knew this breed was going to be on the list. The Rhode Island Red is probably the most famous chicken breed in America, and there's a very good reason for that. A well-bred Rhode Island Red will produce between 250 and 300 eggs per year. Some production strains will push even higher, closer to 320. The eggs are medium to large in a rich brown color. These birds start laying around 18 to 20 weeks old, and once they start, they just don't quit. But here's something important you need to know, and this is advice you won't find in most articles or videos. There are 2 types of Rhode Island Reds. There's the heritage strain and the production strain, and they are very different birds. The heritage Rhode Island Red is a deep, dark mahogany color. It's a bigger bird, and it's more mellow. It lays well, but it's not going to break any records. The production strain is lighter in color, leaner, and it's been selectively bred for maximum egg output. If you want the most eggs, go with the production strain. If you want a more well-rounded homestead bird that's also great for meat and has a calmer personality, go heritage. Both are excellent choices, but knowing the difference will save you from a lot of frustration. Rhode Island Reds are tough birds. They handle cold weather well, they handle heat reasonably well, and they're resistant to most common poultry diseases. They're also assertive, which means they're less likely to be picked on by predators or other chickens. The flip side of that assertiveness is that Rhode Island Red roosters can be aggressive. So if you're keeping a rooster, just be aware of that, especially if you have small children. For feed efficiency, Rhode Island Reds are excellent. They're among the best foragers of any standard breed, and they'll eat bugs, weeds, kitchen scraps, and just about anything else they can find. You still want to provide layer feed and calcium, but these birds will definitely help keep your feed bill down. Quick bonus here. Rhode Island Reds are the parent breed of a lot of modern hybrids, including the Golden Comet I mentioned earlier. So when you raise Rhode Island Reds, you're raising the original genetics that the commercial industry built its entire egg production system around. That tells you something about how good these birds are. The white leghorn. If you've ever bought eggs from a grocery store, you've almost certainly eaten a white leghorn egg. These are the birds behind those white eggs in the supermarket. And the reason the industry chose them is because their production numbers are absolutely insane. A healthy white leghorn will lay between 280 and 320 eggs per year. Some strains have been documented at over 320. That's 6 eggs per week, almost every single week of the year. White leghorns are also the most feed-efficient layers on this entire list. They're small birds, usually only about 4 to 5 lb, which means they eat less than larger breeds, while producing just as many, if not more, eggs. On a cost per egg basis, it's almost impossible to beat the white leghorn. If you're running a homestead and you're watching every dollar, and most of us are, that feed efficiency is a huge deal. Now let me give you the honest truth about leghorns, because this is where a lot of people get surprised. White leghorns are nervous, flighty, and noisy. They are not the cuddly backyard pet that a Sussex or a barred rock is. They spook easily. They can fly over surprisingly tall fences, and they will let the entire neighborhood know about it with their vocals. If you live in a suburban area with close neighbors, a flock of white leghorns might cause some friction. However, if you have space, if you're on a real homestead with some room, leghorns are incredible. They're outstanding free-range birds because their alertness actually makes them better at avoiding predators. They're always watching, always aware, and they're fast. A leghorn will outrun a slow predator when a bigger, calmer breed would get caught. White leghorns also handle heat better than almost any other breed on this list. If you live in a hot climate, the south, the southwest, anywhere that gets consistently above 90°, leghorns thrive where cold, hardy breeds struggle. Their small body size and large combs help them dissipate heat effectively. One more thing about leghorns, they lay white eggs. Now that shouldn't matter nutritionally because brown and white eggs are identical on the inside. But if you're selling eggs at a farmer's market, you should know that a lot of customers prefer brown eggs. It's not rational, but it's real. So if you're raising leghorns for sale, you might want to mix in some brown egg layers to give your customers options. The Lohmann Brown. Most backyard chicken keepers have never even heard of the Lohmann Brown, and that's a shame because this breed is absolutely dominant in the commercial egg industry worldwide. Lohmann Browns were developed in Germany by the Lohmann Company, and they were specifically engineered for one purpose: to produce as many eggs as possible, as efficiently as possible. And do they deliver? A Lohmann Brown will lay between 300 and 320 eggs per year. Let me say that again. Over 300 eggs per year. That's an egg almost every single day, and the eggs are a beautiful brown color. They're large and the shell quality is excellent. If you're selling eggs, the Lohmann Brown gives you a premium product. But here's what makes the Lohmann Brown even more impressive, and this is the detail that most people miss. These birds reach peak production incredibly fast, usually by 20 weeks of age, and they maintain that peak for a longer period than most commercial hybrids. While a golden Comet might start dropping off after 18 months, a well-managed Lohmann Brown will hold strong production for up to 80 weeks. That's over a year and a half of near-peak laying. Temperament-wise, Lohmann Browns are much calmer than white leghorns. They're not as docile as a Sussex or barred rock, but they're manageable. They adapt well to both free-range and confined systems, which gives you flexibility in how you set up your operation. The big question with Lohmann Browns is availability. Because they're a proprietary breed developed by a specific company, you can't always find them at your local farm store. You'll likely need to order from a specialized hatchery. But trust me, it's worth the effort. If pure egg production is your goal, the Lohmann Brown is one of the best investments you can make. For feeding, Lohmann Browns are efficient, but they do require quality nutrition to maintain those production levels. A good 18% protein layer feed is ideal, especially during peak production. Don't skimp on the calcium either. When a bird is pushing out over 300 eggs a year, her body needs that calcium to maintain strong shells and stay healthy. Here's a bonus tip for anyone keeping Lohmann Browns. Lighting matters a lot. These birds are highly responsive to light cycles. If you provide 14 to 16 hours of light per day, either natural or supplemental, you'll keep production high even through the shorter days of fall and winter. A simple timer on a coop light is all it takes, and it can mean the difference between getting 5 eggs a week and getting 7. Before I reveal the number one breed on this list, the one that holds that world record I mentioned at the beginning, let me share something that applies to every single breed we've talked about. This is probably the most valuable thing you'll hear in this entire video, and it's the reason some homesteaders get double the eggs that other people get from the exact same breeds. It comes down to management. The breed matters, absolutely, but management is what separates good results from incredible results. And there are 5 things that matter most. First, nutrition. You need a quality layer feed with at least 16% protein and ideally 18% for your highest producing breeds. Free choice oyster shell for calcium. Clean, fresh water available at all times, and occasional treats like mealworms, black soldier fly larvae, or fresh greens for additional vitamins and protein. Second, housing. Your coop needs good ventilation, but no drafts. About 4 square FT per bird inside the coop, and at least 10 square FT per bird in the run. Clean, dry bedding changed regularly and secure nesting boxes, 1 box for every 3 to 4 hens. Third, lighting. Hens need 14 to 16 hours of light to maintain maximum production. In the summer, natural daylight handles this. In the winter, a simple light on a timer extends the day and keeps those eggs coming. Fourth, stress management. This one is huge and most people completely ignore it. Stress kills egg production. Predator threats, overcrowding, bullying, sudden changes in routine, loud noises, too many roosters. All of these create stress, and a stressed hen stops laying. Keep your flock calm, keep their environment consistent, and protect them from threats. And fifth, health maintenance. Regularly check your birds for parasites, both internal worms and external mites and lice. Keep the coop clean to prevent respiratory issues, and learn to spot the early signs of common poultry diseases. A healthy hen is a productive hen, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If you nail these 5 things, every breed on this list will perform at the top of its potential. Write them down. Screenshot this part. Do whatever you need to do. This is the foundation of a productive flock. The Australorp. This breed holds a world record that has never been broken in nearly 100 years. In 1922, a team of 6 Australorp hens in Australia set a world record by laying 1,357 eggs in 365 days. That's an average of 309.5 eggs per hen per year. But the highest producing individual hen in that group laid 364 eggs in 365 days. She missed 1 single day in an entire year, and this was in 1922. No artificial lighting tricks, no genetically modified feed, no modern supplements. Just an incredible breed doing what it does best. The Australorp was developed in Australia from the Black Orpington, which was originally brought over from England. Australian breeders specifically selected for egg production while keeping the Orpington's excellent size and temperament. The result is what many experienced poultry keepers consider the perfect homestead chicken. Let's talk numbers. For a modern Australorp, you can realistically expect between 250 and 300 eggs per year from a well-managed hen. Some birds will push higher. The eggs are light brown to medium brown, and they're a good size. Not the very largest eggs you'll ever see, but solid, consistent, and beautiful. But the Australorp's real magic isn't just the egg count. It's everything else that comes with it. First, this is a gorgeous bird. The black Australorp has iridescent black feathers that shine green and purple in the sunlight. It is one of the most beautiful chickens you will ever see, and it makes your flock look incredible. Second, the Australorp is a large bird. Hens typically weigh 612 to 8 lb, and roosters can hit 8 to 10 lb. That makes it a true dual-purpose breed. When a hen's laying days are over, she still provides a substantial amount of meat. That efficiency matters on a homestead. Third, the temperament is exceptional. Australorps are calm, gentle, and friendly. They're wonderful with children. They get along well with other breeds in a mixed flock. They're not flighty or skittish. They're the kind of bird that comes running when they see you walking toward the coop because they associate you with treats and safety. You can pick them up, hold them, and they actually seem to enjoy the interaction. Fourth, Australorps are incredibly hardy. They handle cold weather very well thanks to their dense, tight feathering. They also manage heat better than you'd expect for a dark-feathered, heavy breed, though you'll want to provide shade and extra water during the hottest months. They're resistant to most common poultry diseases, and they're generally long-lived for a production breed. Fifth, and this is something I love about Australorps, they're excellent foragers, but they don't destroy your yard the way some breeds do. They'll happily wander around eating bugs and grass, but they're not as aggressive about scratching up your garden beds as breeds like Leghorns or Rhode Island Reds. If you want to let your chickens free range near your garden without total destruction, Australorps are a smart choice. Sixth, longevity of production. Unlike hybrids that burn out after a year or two, Australorps maintain good laying for 3 to 5 years. The numbers do decline after the first 2 years. That's true for every breed. But the decline is gradual and manageable. Many keepers report their Australorp hens still laying 3 to 4 eggs per week in their 4th and 5th year. That's remarkable. And here's one final bonus about the Australorp that nobody talks about. They're one of the best breeds for a beginning homesteader because they're hardy, friendly, good layers, good for meat, beautiful, and easy to manage. They essentially remove all the stress and second-guessing from getting started with chickens. If someone came to me and said, "I've never raised a chicken in my life, but I want to start. What should I get?" My answer would be Australorps without a moment of hesitation. Now, before I wrap this up, let me give you a rapid-fire breed comparison so you can make the best decision for your specific situation. If maximum eggs in the first 2 years is your only goal, go with the Lohmann Brown or the Golden Comet. If feed efficiency and sheer volume matter most, the White Leghorn is your bird. If you want a reliable long-term dual-purpose breed that does everything well, the Australorp, Barred Rock, or Sussex are your best bets. If you want a famous heritage breed with proven genetics and excellent production, the Rhode Island Red is a classic for a reason. And here's my personal recommendation. Don't pick just one breed. A mixed flock is almost always better than a single breed flock. Here's why. Different breeds lay at different rates during different seasons. By mixing breeds, you smooth out the dips and keep a more consistent supply of eggs year-round. A flock with 3 Australorps, 2 Rhode Island Reds, and 2 White Leghorns is going to give you eggs in every season, in every condition, and you'll have a beautiful, diverse flock to boot. Raising laying hens is one of the most rewarding things you can do on a homestead. There's something deeply satisfying about walking out to your coop in the morning and collecting fresh eggs that you produced yourself on your own land from birds that you raised and cared for. It connects you to a tradition that goes back thousands of years, and it puts real nutritious food on your table every single day. The 7 breeds I've shared with you today are the very best in the world at what they do. Pick the ones that match your climate, your setup, and your goals. Nail those 5 management fundamentals I gave you, and I promise you your egg basket's going to be overflowing. If this guide has changed the way you look at the birds in your backyard, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are uncovering the history and the secrets that have been hidden from modern homesteaders. Plant the seeds for your future. The next treasure trove of knowledge will be opened soon.